All right. So some of the names I recognize on here from some of the other sessions. So welcome back. All right, I see Rusty there. So welcome, Rusty. I'm giving you co-host of the meeting. All right, so everybody should be putting their names in the chat so that we can make sure that we get PD points for this. We'll have a survey at the end of the 4th session, but we won't have surveys after each individual session this week. So welcome. Some of you are kind of new to Canvas. Some of you maybe have used Canvas before in the past. We are going to attack this from you have never seen Canvas before, you've never done distance learning before. We are going to start with step 1. This is going to be 4 one-hour sessions. Each session is going to cover a different part of Canvas. Feel free in the chat room to ask any questions you may have. Rusty's going to be on the chat and he's going to be answering your questions as we go. This is being recorded, so we will go ahead and any questions that are in the chat, we'll make sure that we have those accessible for everybody at the end. We should finish up with about 5 to 10 minutes left today, and so we'll open it up to questions at the end as well. So if you want to write down any questions and save them to the end, we can touch on that. All right, so first of all, what is Canvas? Canvas is an LMS, which stands for Learning Management System. Some of you have used LMSs if you've gone to college recently. OU uses Blackboard, a couple of the other universities use Canvas. It is a great way of keeping everything organized when you've got students in different locations. What you are going to be using Canvas for is remotely delivering content to students. Now, we are going to show you ways that you can use Canvas for in-person teaching as well. But specifically, we are going to try and address some of those distance learning options. Now, as you kind of wrap your head around distance learning, I want you to think of distance learning as a student is absent for a day or a week or 2 weeks. So we are going to use Canvas to supply any student who's not in our classroom the same way we would supply information to a student who is absent. So right now you may have an absent work basket, and the instructions to your students are when you come back from work, go to your basket, get your absent work, and then fill that out. Now, if you're in kindergarten, you are not going to give every single assignment that you did with your kindergarteners in the classroom as absent work. You're only going to choose those items that need to be done so that the student can successfully enter into the next phase. So kind of keep that in the back of the mind. Everything that you do in your classroom does not necessarily have to be on Canvas. Only the stuff that you're going to want done during distance learning or absent students. Another thing that you're going to use your teacher website for is if you have assignments that need to be returned to you. So during the distance learning episode of this last March, April, and May, elementary students did paper packets. You handed the paper packets to the students when they came to pick up their supplies, and we had a voucher or a release from the State Department saying that for kindergarten through 6th grade, we didn't have to actually get that material back. We were going to freeze the students' grades. So those last 5 weeks of school were just going to be review over material already taught. We're not going to have the opportunity to have that waiver this year. So from day 1 to day 180, we are going to have to teach content to these students, which means whatever material that we assign to the students, we're going to need to, for some of that, be able to receive some type of a response and assess that assignment. So Canvas is going to allow us to do that, and it's going to allow us to do it pretty easily. So let's kind of take a look at it. Now, just for your background, I'm with the Ed Tech department here at Moore Public Schools. I spent 3 years teaching elementary at Sky Ranch here at Moore Public Schools, and the last 3 years I've been at Westmore High School. So I have experienced elementary school from your side of it. I have also taught with Canvas in a full-time class for the last 1.5 years here at Westmore. So I kind of have a little bit of experience with both sides. So any question that you ask, I should be able to attack it from I've kind of been there a little bit and help you through it. So I'm going to share my screen with you real quick, and I'm going to show you what we've created. It's a Sally student account. All right. So let me go ahead and switch here. Let me pull this over. I have entirely too many tabs open. Okay. So we are going to, this is a student's, a simulation of a student's Canvas account. So the student would log in and they would see their dashboard. Does everybody see the dashboard here? Each one of these pictures represents a course that this student is enrolled in. Now, because this is kind of a practice student account, you see a lot more courses than any student could possibly have. But for yours, you might have a kindergarten account. So here's a demo kindergarten course. So the teacher who taught Sally student kindergarten would have their course, and she would click on it from her dashboard to access all of her content for the day. This is the Student Tech Academy. So here's one that more high school students did at the beginning of distance learning. Highland West also had one. This is kind of the general one that we can assign to anybody. So the student will also be able to go through guided practice courses to kind of help them understand Canvas if they've never entered the classroom before. So let's say we're in a distance learning situation and you have a new student that transfers into Moore Public Schools. We can enroll them in a course like this to kind of teach them how to use Canvas. Continuing on with that, you would have clubs. So you could have, if you did a theater club or a math club or an archery club, I know we have some of those at some of the elementary schools, you could create a course just for your individual club. You could also do STEM or robotics. So there's a lot of different ways that we can use these. But we call these cards, each card represents a course that this student is enrolled in, okay? Now, one of the really nice things about Canvas is over here, you have on the top right, a to-do list for the students. So normally we would have agendas for the students to fill out every day. This is their online agenda. So even with students in the classroom, you can still use Canvas as a way to give them information and help them keep track of their assignments using the calendar function, okay? So if they had an assignment, it would show up here on their to-do list. They also have access to a calendar on the left, this little calendar icon. And this will also go through and show them if they have any activities that are due, they'll show up on a calendar view as well. And they can look at each of these calendars by class. Okay, so some of your 5th, 6th grade students, they may want to look at their math assignments for the week and kind of lay those out. Kindergartners, this is going to be primarily for the parents to keep track of things, because remember, 3rd grade and under, your students are not going to access Canvas without a grown-up sitting there next to them. It's just not going to be possible for them to do this on their own. So kind of let that ease your mind a little bit in that you don't have to have a 4-year-old pre-K student navigating an online system without any assistance. We're going to require the parents to kind of help guide them through this. We also have the ability through Canvas to communicate directly with our students. So you will notice that Infinite Campus, when we do communications through Infinite Campus, we communicate with the parents. It goes to the parents' email accounts, their text messages, leaves voicemail, but we don't have any way to contact the students directly. This will allow you to contact the students. The only way that you can contact a parent through this if they are listed as an observer, and we'll go over that towards the end. But this is a really good way for you to communicate directly with the students for some of your upper grades. All right, let's see. Let's talk about how we're going to learn this. So it's a brand new system. We're going to start with the basics. Because Moore Public Schools is the way it is, you're kind of lucky you have a district that allows you teacher autonomy. And we're going to continue to allow that teacher autonomy within the Canvas except for a few minor things that obviously need to be consistent. But one of the things that I want you to understand is we are not asking you to change how you teach or what you teach. We're simply showing you how to use Canvas as a way to digitally send this information to your students if they're not in your building. So don't think you have to come up with a whole new curriculum. You don't have to go to paperless. You don't have to go to completely online. This is just going to be a way for you to communicate with students who cannot, for any particular reason, be in the building. Now, so we're going to do the first session. This is going to be the what, why, and how. So I'm going to show you how to log in, how to access your Canvas account, how to set up your first sandbox, and then explain what a sandbox is. And then I'm going to show you at the end a couple of resources that you can go to tonight and kind of prepare for tomorrow's lesson. It's not required, but it will make tomorrow's lesson make a little bit more sense. Continuing on, we're going to go to session 2, which is going to be tomorrow, same time. And we're going to actually create a Canvas course. This sandbox, we're going to show you how to add specific content to it, how to organize it, and how to make it very user-friendly for your students and for your parents. Then in session 3, we're going to go over quizzes and assignments and SpeedGrader. So SpeedGrader is going to be a game changer for some of you guys, especially in elementary school. I know how many nights I took home stacks and stacks of paper and put smiley faces and check marks on everything. You're absolutely going to love SpeedGrader. And then in Thursday's session, session 4, we're going to go over some final tools that are not Canvas related, but will help you with your Canvas, and then some places where you can go for some external help. Because at the end of these 4 sessions, you are not going to be a Canvas expert. You are going to know just enough about Canvas to be effective and dangerous at the same time. So just like anything else, you're going to have to play with it. You're going to have to experience with it. You're going to have to try some things. They may work, they may not, but we're resilient, okay? We've done this before when they changed our standards mid-summer, and then again when they changed our standards in the middle of September. So we're kind of used to this. We can pick things up in the middle of the summer and not really have any problems with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with how to open up your account. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the More Schools website. It doesn't matter if it on your computer, if it goes to the main More School or if it goes to your specific school website, you're still going to be able to click on these 3 bars on the top right. Okay, and once you see these 3 bars on the top right, click those, and you're going to see these 7 circles. These are your main navigation circles. These are kind of like your quick links. So Clever you guys have used in the past at the elementary school level. We are going to show you how to integrate Clever into Canvas pretty seamlessly. Office 365, you should be familiar with how to access your email and your OneDrive and all of your Office products from this location. And then the next one here is Canvas. So this is how we're going to access our Canvas account. So we're going to go ahead and click that. Now let me go ahead and switch this. I'm going to log out so you can see what it's going to look like for you your first time. So I'm going to sign out. So the first time that you go to Canvas, it's going to take you to the main login page. This is what everybody sees. Parents, students, teachers, everybody sees this exact same page. You are going to come down here to the student teacher login unless you are a new hire and you do not have a login yet. I know that they are almost completely caught up with that, so that there shouldn't be too many of you right now. But if you do not have a school email account, I want you to put your name in the chat box so that we can make sure that we get you signed up with a temporary account that you can use until then. So we're going to click on Student Teacher Login, and you're going to log in with your More Schools email and your More Schools password, just like always, your single site sign-on. Now, when you open yours for the first time, it's going to take you to the dashboard, and you're going to have a blank dashboard. So you won't have any of these cards. Now, I need you to check one thing. We need to find out if Canvas thinks that you're a student or a teacher. If you have already enrolled in any of Andre's courses, Canvas may think that you are actually a student instead of a teacher. So here's how we're going to find out. On the left, these are our main navigation icons. We're going to go down here to the courses icon. It looks like a spiral notebook, and you're going to click on that, and you're going to click on all courses. This button here is going to tell me if you are a student or a teacher. If you see plus course, that means add or create a course, then you are perfectly fine. You are ready to go. If you do not see plus course up here, Canvas thinks you're a student, and you need to put a comment in the chat room, and Rusty or I will get you set up by the end of the afternoon. All right, so we are going to go ahead and continue on. So if you cannot follow, not necessary that you follow along with us and do these steps. We are recording this. You can go ahead and take notes, but when you're done, go ahead and try and log on and see if you can add this course. So we are going to add a course first before we do anything else. This will make sure that Canvas sees us as a teacher. Now, the course name is completely arbitrary. You can set this up to be whatever you want. A lot of people are going to use the term sandbox, and that simply means that it is a course that you can play in. This is not a course that the students are going to see. It's not a course that is going to be put out to the public. Nobody can see it except for your administrator. You can give other teachers access to it, but this is kind of your own private little place to learn Canvas. So you can call it a sandbox, but I would also give it a name like Wendy's Sandbox or Mrs. Argenbright's Sandbox, just so that you can tell the difference if you start to build 2 or 3. Or you can even do your math sandbox if you teach multiple classes. You're going to make sure you keep it private. That way, if you have copyright materials, those copyright materials are nice and secure. And do not make the course publicly visible, okay? Don't worry about the student data here. This isn't going to have any students assigned to it, but we're going to keep this nice private course. Now, once you do this, Canvas will forevermore know that you are a teacher and you won't have to worry about that student account. So here we have our absolutely blank Canvas. So I'm just going to go through and show you all of the different menu items. And then I'm going to show you where you can get a little bit more detail for each of those menu items, okay? So the dashboard we already saw. The dashboard is where we're going to look at all of the courses that we've created, and it's also going to show us any courses that we are enrolled in as a student. Okay, so I'm going to come back up here. And I'm going to show you how to enroll in the school training program. So we are going to go back to the More Schools website where we logged in. We're going to click those same 3 bars on the top right, and we're going to choose Ed Tech. Okay, this is the Educational Technology Group. IT is your computer technology. Ed Tech is where we're going to show you how to use software and technology in the classroom. IT is more of a break fix. Once you go into the Ed Tech, the first thing you see is the PD by the pool. So that's where you're at right now. You are taking PD. I don't see anybody by the pool, but you can certainly work on this on your laptop outside later. So you're going to click this plus button, and that's going to send you to our professional development homepage. So this here on the left, Elementary Canvas Training Course, this is the supplemental training course that you can do on your own. It's going to have more detail than what we're going to be able to do here on the 4 sessions. So this is something that you can work through on your own time. If you click on this, it's going to enroll you in this course, okay? Don't click on this until after you've created your first sandbox. Okay, you can see I'm already enrolled in it. So I'm gonna go find that card on my dashboard now and show you what's entailed in that. Okay, so here it is here, the Moore Public School Canvas training course. We've made some of these specific to elementary. This was designed for the secondary level because we were only introducing Canvas to secondary courses when this was created. We've added some information specifically to elementary, but some of the videos are geared towards secondary teachers. Just keep in mind that that's just where we were at when we created it. But everything in here can still apply to an elementary course, and we're going to show you how to kind of transfer that. So once you click on this, you're going to be enrolled in this as a student. So you can walk through this the same way that your students would walk through a standard Canvas. The training videos that Andre has created are under this clickable link. We're going to refer to that as a button. So anything that is a button, you can click on, it's going to take you to another portion of the Canvas course. So here's all of the different videos that Andre has in this course for you. So you can come here, the rich content editor, we're going to do a lot of work in, adding assignments, setting up a front page. All of these we are going to touch on very briefly in these sessions, but you can come to this training course and get more detail on each individual one directly from Andre. All right, excellent. So now let's go back to your course. No matter where you are at in Canvas, if you will come click on your little dashboard gauge, that's going to take you kind of back to your own personal home screen. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my dashboard and I'm going to find that sandbox that we created. So I called this one Sandbox Math. If you click anywhere on the card, you can go ahead and open it. Now, you will notice this card that I just created just has a blank background. Some of the other ones have pictures, and some of the ones that you'll see also have GIFs or animated pictures. You can change those, and we're going to change those in settings. You can also simply change the color. So if you want to keep it nice and simple, you can simply change the color of your card right here by clicking the three dots. And then we're going to go in and we're going to change that to another background in the settings. So we're going to open your sandbox. Everything we create in here is just going to be visible to you. Okay, so let's take a look at our options over here on the left. We have home. So this is basically the home screen. Anytime someone logs into your course, this is where it's going to take them. Right now, my home screen is set to be my modules. I don't have any modules right now. Nothing really shows up. When you create your course, your home screen is going to be up to you, but you have one of two options. If you are a 5th or 6th grade course, you can use modules as your home screen. Modules is kind of like your lesson plan for your course. So there are a lot of different ways that we can set these up, and I'll go through some of those. You can also have your home screen be more like a web page. So 4th and lower, or even 3rd and lower, you are not going to want a text-based homepage. You're going to want images and clickable links. So think about some of those applications that your littles use on the iPads. They click on buttons on the iPads to navigate through each individual app. And so the buttons generally are more graphic than they are textual. So instead of saying math homework, it'll just have 1, 2, 3 as a button. Or instead of saying daily reading assignment, it might just have the picture of a book. So think about different ways that you can organize this. But we are going to show you how to create your own web page based homepage. And this is what the students are going to interact with. So your lower kids are not going to interact with a lot of text based instructions. It's going to be more clickable links. All right. Announcements, assignments, discussions, these are all of the different things that you can create within Canvas. Announcements are how you can communicate to all of your students at once. So think about the Infinite Campus messenger that we send out to all of the parents. Announcements is that for our students. So if you want to say, hey guys, welcome to the Canvas board, or can everybody fill out this quick video form, everybody say hi, here we're going to have a Zoom meeting on Monday, just those broad announcements. You're going to use the announcements features, and you're just going to create new announcements like you would anything else. The next thing is assignments. So each of our students are going to have assignments that they can complete, and the complexity of the assignments is going to change based on your grade level, obviously, but we're going to walk you through how to create assignments that are age appropriate. I would generally not use discussions in an elementary setting. Some of you did Zooms during the first part of distance learning, and the Zooms from my personal children did not go very well, simply because they are children. And so it got really crazy really fast. Some of them learned how to unmute themselves very quickly. Some of them started shouting out their Xbox handles so that they could go play Xbox together. Then started the show your pet show and tell. The same kind of thing can happen with discussions. They can get really out of hand really fast. So I just wouldn't even use those as an elementary level. This grades tab right here, we are going to use this to communicate Canvas grades to students and parents, but this is not the Infinite Campus grade system. So real quick, Canvas and Campus are two separate entities. So I'm going to refer to Campus as IC. Makes it a little bit easier to discuss with. So when we do report cards, pass, fail, eligibility, our grades for reporting always come from IC. That is the only state authorized method that we have to report grades. We can collect grades and assign grades in Canvas, but those are not our reportable grades. So in order for the parents and the students to see how they did on an individual assignment, it is sometimes easier to allow them to look at the Canvas, because the way the speed grader works, it allows you to give a lot of really good feedback immediately. But the Canvas will not be our reportable grades. So we have to be a little careful how we present that information to parents, because those two grades could be different. You may do daily grades in IC, you may do participation grades in IC, you may do cumulative grades in IC that are not going to exist in Canvas, but those are going to be your reportable grades. So just to kind of keep that straight, we are going to allow some grades feedback in Canvas, but that's not going to be the reportable grade. Okay, people, your students are not going to have access to people. This is going to be something that you're able to. So I want to click on this real quick, because before you get too started on your sandbox, you might want to collaborate with people. So for instance, if you are in a kindergarten team with 4 other kindergarten teachers in the same building, you often work together. I've never seen an elementary team that did not work well together. It's one of the things I love about more schools. So if that's the case, you guys may contact your team and decide all to work on the same sandbox, or at the very least share your sandboxes together so that you're not duplicating work. You may have one teacher that does the math portion, one that does the ELA portion, one that does the art portion. So this is where you can add people. So anytime you see a plus anywhere in Canvas, that is the key to create. So if you want to create a new person in your account, you would add people. Let's say I want Rusty to collaborate on this. So I would just put Rusty's email address. I'm going to make him a teacher so that he can edit and change content. And that's going to send an email to Rusty saying, Wendy Argenbright has invited you to join the organization. If you get a green check mark, that means that it found them in more public schools, and you can go ahead and add them as a user. You can also add your administrator if you want your administrator to be able to see your Sandbox course and just kind of give it an okay and make sure that everything is in line with what they're looking for, then this is where you would add them as people as well. Okay. Pages are like your websites. So if anybody has ever done web design, your pages kind of link together. So if you go to, say, Khan Academy, it doesn't have just one page. Each page links to another page, which sometimes links to a video or an assignment. The students are not going to see these, but this is where you're going to build all of your web pages. And again, sounds a lot more complicated than it is. We will do that on day 3. Files, if you want somewhere to start, I would start here. So in the elementary school setting, you have a master, you make copies, you hand them to the students. Well, when we go to distance learning, you're not going to have that paper copy anymore. You're going to use an electronic copy. So this is where if you have electronic copies of all of your worksheets or your activities, you can go ahead and start uploading them into this file section and getting it organized. So for instance, you can add folders in here just like you would do File Explorer. So you can have a math folder. You could even go by a week 1 folder. So you can have everything in week 1. And you can organize this, and then you can upload your files from your computer directly into these. If you do this first, it makes it a little bit easier as you go on to attach all of these files. You can do it as you build the course. It's not any harder, it's just an extra step. Or you can bring everything in now and just kind of go ahead and start getting it organized. Think about this being your File Explorer on your work computer or your flash drive if you use that. Or hopefully everybody's using their OneDrive account so you can access your files from anywhere. This would be a really good time to just go ahead and put your full files in here and get them ready to use. Syllabus, you guys are going to be using this on a very limited scale. Some of your administrators are going to require a limited syllabus, some are not. It's basically, you can even use this kind of as your meet the teacher that you would normally hand out during back to school night. This is who I am, this is how I teach, this is how you can contact me, that type of stuff in the syllabus. Outcomes, we're not going to use those right now. These are what they call the standards. So when we refer to outcomes in Canvas, we are referring to state standards. So pre-K through 1st grade, you guys still do standards-based grading. We're going to use outcomes, we're just not going to use it in this particular capacity. Okay. Quizzes. You may think giving a quiz to a kindergartner is ridiculous, but it's not. You can set these quizzes up in a number of different ways. Instead of thinking of it as an assessment, I want you to think of it as a self-grading homework. So it doesn't have to be a summative, it can be a formative, it can be a, beginning of the day, well, hey, what day is it? Here's a calendar, tell me what today is. But the quizzes feature allows you to have it self-graded. And when we're dealing with distance learning, the ability to have extra work done for us is going to be phenomenal. So don't think that your kids are too little to use the quizzes. We can make them super easy and very clickable, just like everything else. Modules. I think modules is probably one of the most misunderstood parts of Canvas. So let's break it down super easily. A module is your lesson plan. Now I'm going to go to my dashboard real quick and I'm going to show you a couple of modules that I've used so you can kind of see what it looks like. So just like I said before, we're not asking you to change how you teach. We're also not asking you to change how you lesson plan. So if you have that cute, itsy, Pinterest spiral lesson plan where you keep everything written down and organized, you're still going to use that. Okay, this is not going to replace that. We are also not going to ask you to duplicate that. It's just going to be kind of an organizational tool that you're going to use. So here is a distance learning course. Actually, I'm going to show you my actual geometry course because it was a student course. It's back in here. So this is the course that I taught last year at Westmore High School. I taught pre-AP geometry as one of mine. These are, let's see, the modules that I created. So I created my modules by unit, okay? So this is some of the distance learning stuff that I threw in here. Let's get down to the bottom. So here's unit 8. So I had one module for the entire unit. Everything that I taught for this unit went into this module. We had notes, we had homework assignments, we had reviews, we had quizzes. Everything for that one unit I put in this one kind of a folder. My students did not see this. This was my organizational technique. So for you guys, if you are organizing it by week, then you would have a module for week 1, and everything that you needed for week 1 would be under that module. The order it appears here doesn't matter. You can organize it. So for instance, you can add a text header and say assignments, and you can put all of your assignments under this one header. So think about this as organizational. So then I can put all my homework assignments under that. Let's see, there's homework 1. I can organize it however I want. And then I could have another text header that said notes. And so I could put all of my notes underneath that. It allows you to indent. So if you look over here on the right, there's 3 dots. You can increase the indent or decrease the indent, okay? You can change how these are organized in order. So this is going to be your organizational page. However you choose to set up your lesson plan, do the same thing here. If you lesson plan by the day for kindergartners, I would have a module for the day. If you lesson plan by the unit for 5th and 6th grade, I would lesson plan by the unit and have your modules look the exact same as your lesson plan that you already do. So you're not adding any additional work. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Okay. But again, this is not something generally your students are going to see. This is where you're going to create all of your content, and then later we're going to put it in a nice, easy form for the kids to access. All right, so let's go back to the dashboard. I'm going to go back to that sandbox that we have, and we're going to continue down through the, all right, conferences. We're not going to use conferences. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about collaboration. Don't worry about chat. Don't worry about attendance. Don't worry about Office 365. None of these we're actually going to use, okay? Now, they did add a new one this last week just for you guys, and we now have a link for Clever. So your students are going to be able to use this link to access their Clever account directly from the Canvas. So if you're worried about how they're going to access Study Island, Renaissance Reading, AR, textbooks, anything that they normally access through Clever, they're still going to access through Clever. They're going to use their same badges or sign-ins, however they've done it in the past. So that is not going to change. It's going to be just as seamless. All right, and then the last one is settings. Okay, so we are going to come down here and we're going to take a quick look at settings. We're going to go a little bit more into detail on this tomorrow. We're going to go through all of the setting options, but I just kind of want to show you. This is going to be your first opportunity to make your course fancy. And that's the choose image. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this so that tonight you can kind of, if you wanted to go get creative. When you click on this, you can either upload an image, You could go to Unsplash and search for an image. So you can pick, this is a fair use or copyright free images. Anything that you find in Unsplash, you are able to use without any copyright or citations. So you can come in and you can choose a picture, and that becomes your course card. If you have an image that you found on the internet or one that you've created, or a picture of yourself that you want to use, then you would come in here and you would upload an image from your computer. You can also upload a GIF. So if you go to Giphy and you find a GIF that you want to use, then feel free to do that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Last thing I'm going to show you is how we can use the help features that are built into Canvas. So I have shown you how to enroll in Andre's More Public Schools training portal. The Canvas community themselves have created an amazing group of help features. So if you see on this main navigation menu here, the question mark, if you click on that, you're going to see search the Canvas guides. These Canvas guides are written by the designers and creators of Canvas. They are step-by-step PDF style, very visual instructions. So when you click that, it's going to take you straight to the Canvas website. You're going to come down here. You can either type in a question. So how to add an assignment. And it's going to take you to all of the guides that show you how to add an assignment. This is a very comprehensive list. I have not typed a question and not found a very relevant answer yet. And I've typed in some pretty fun questions, okay? So as you go through and you get stuck, and you will, come to the guides, type in your question. And so here is how do I add an assignment from the calendar? This is how I add assignments actually. We're not going to go over it in this session, but here's step-by-step instructions. You click on the calendar, you add an assignment, you choose the type of assignment, you create all of the information. I mean, it is just beautiful instructions. And then it will take you on to the next thing. So now it's going to assume you've created it. Now you want to edit it. Okay, so these are really good instructions for as you go through, you come across those questions that won't be covered in this lesson, or they were covered and you've forgotten them, because that happens as well. Now for the actual list, if you don't want to do a search, if you will click on Canvas guides, you will see that they have guides for instructors, that's you, students. So if you're doing this from a parent standpoint and your child needs help, they've got a student guide. And then this is an observer guide. This is you as a parent. So for instance, I had 3 students at More Public Schools last year during the distance learning. I became an observer on their accounts. So I was able to see all of their assignments. I was able to see their grades in Canvas, their submissions. So this is what your parents are going to see. So if you have a question about how your parents can interact or how your parents can communicate with you, you can also look up these questions from their standpoint. So if you go to the instructor guide, this is everything you need to know about Canvas. It really is very comprehensive. So if you've been hearing a lot of talk about modules and home pages, here's an entire section on modules. You can learn everything you need to know about a module right here, including the fancy stuff. If you have been hearing a lot of stuff about home pages, you can come over here to pages, and it's going to show you how to change the page, how to set it as a front page, how to upload files. Again, very comprehensive. So this is another really good place for you to go if you have questions along the way. And then the last thing that I'm going to show you let's get back to where I need to be. All right. It's the training services portal. So we're back at Canvas. We've clicked on the circle with the question mark to access the help files. And down at the bottom, we see training services portal. This has a course. It'll ask you to link in the first time. You can go through the tutorial. I'm not going to right now. It's going to bring up all of the Canvas training services. Again, these are created by Canvas. And we're going to scroll down here to the K-12 First Day Ready. This is another set of instructions that you can do on your own time. If you want to get through the first 3 steps tonight, if that's something that you want to devote about an hour to, you can go ahead and do that. And it is a course just like your students would take. And it's going to walk you through some of the stuff we've already done, opening Canvas, creating that sandbox. And this is the third one, getting started with assignments and assessments. This is where we're going to go tomorrow. So if you want to go through here and kind of work through this third module, that would be something that you can do to prepare for tomorrow. But those are 3 excellent resources for you to gain a little bit more knowledge of how we're going to set this course up. Okay? All right, so I'm going to open it up to questions. We finished everything that we need to. Let's see, I'm gonna unshare my screen real quick and make sure that you guys are able to unmute yourselves. Yep, okay, so if you have a question, you can either type it in the chat box or you can go ahead and unmute yourself. So this last one was, will you show where to go for the training? Absolutely. So from your, I have to move this out of my way. All right, so when you log into Canvas, it's going to bring you to your dashboard. You're going to click over here on the circle with the question mark on it. And the 2 features in here I want you to use are the Search Canvas guides. So these are the text-based instructions for every minute detail of Canvas that you need to know. And then also at the bottom, the Training Services Portal. This is more of a video-based course that you can work through step by step. And that's it's designed for K through 12. And it's basically everything you need to do to get ready for receiving students. All right, great question. All right, let's see, anything else? Rusty, have there been any questions that need to be covered for anybody else? Looks like Rusty's done a great job of catching up. Was anybody unable to access the chat to leave your name? If you are unable to access the chat to leave your name, unmute yourself so that we can make sure that we get that. Let's see. Okay, so there's a question from Tammy. What support will we have in teaching our students how to use Canvas? I feel like I can become proficient, okay, but I'm not sure about showing my students. Excellent question. 2 answers. The first answer is if we actually meet in person starting August 15th, normal first day of school, you're going to teach your students how to use Canvas by modeling it. So on your smart board every morning, you're going to have your Canvas course. And you are going to click on, as you go through the day, every step. Now, not everything has to be on Canvas. If you still have your bulletin board with your calendar, you would still go to the bulletin board and do your calendar. If you were reading a book, you would still sit down and read a book. But anything that's going to be on your Canvas page that you're going to want the students to do in a distance learning situation, you're going to model for them. So that, let's say 3 weeks in, we have to shut down a single school. The students would go home, their parents would be able to open up Canvas and they'd go, oh, mommy, this is where they always start. She always clicks the 1, 2, 3 first, and then we go to the book. And so the students are going to kind of remember that. Now, we are going to, and I've actually already started creating training for the parents as well. We did that for the secondary level. So we have videos that we would send out and put on the website, just like we did this last semester, where we would train, for your part, it's more going to be training the parents on how to access Canvas, how to sign in, how to communicate with the teacher, and then everything else for the students we model. So yes, the ed tech department is taking care of that online training. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, let's see. So a quick reminder, so nothing is mandatory before tomorrow's session. However, if you want to do a little bit, I would have you go to the training services portal and attempt those first 3 lessons in the K-12 First Day Ready module. And that's under the training services portal. The first 2 we've already done today, so those should be a nice review. And then the third one is assignments and assessments, and that would be the one that you're going to want to watch. The other 3 trainings are also going to be recorded, and so what we will do is it takes a little while for it to process the video. So tomorrow I will put a link to today's video on the Zoom meeting, and then we will do that each day. And then the final day, we're going to find a way to put that on the EdTech website for everybody, so you'll have access to all of those. So again, great question. Okay, there was a question, if we are in the process of finding a new position, will we be able to access Canvas? Okay, great question. So if you are entering the Moore Public School District and you don't yet have an account, you can go to Canvas and create your own personal account, and then we can show you how to transition that material in later. If you are leaving the district possibly, then I would make sure that you put yours, again, you can go straight to Canvas and create a free account and do your building there. Just make sure that you're not using any Moore Public Schools owned property in a different district, and also that you're not bringing in another district's material that they have purchased into your Moore Public Schools. So you want to make sure that you keep those 2 buckets separately. Let's see. I think that's about it. Are the textbooks going to be uploaded to Canvas? The majority of your textbooks are online. When we did the last textbook adoption, we got the online options. So your curriculum coordinators are working on getting that linked through Clever with Michelle Hammond. So your district coordinator for your particular subject that you're interested in would be the one to ask and make sure. I believe if you have a PDF copy of any of the workbooks, any of that can be added onto Canvas. And I'm pretty sure the majority of our textbooks have online access. You may not have been using them in the past, but again, your curriculum coordinator would be able to give you specifics for your actual grade level and course. Okay, Clay McNeil, I'm new and the login they gave me is a parent guardian account. Yes, the reason is if you don't have a Moore Schools account, we put you in the bucket of parent guardian, but you still are going to have access to all of your material. And then once you get your mooreschools.com account, we will help you transfer all of that information. So you're not going to lose anything if you create it in one and then have to move it over to another. So that's a great question. Okay, I do have a question. Will you show me how to upload a file from OneDrive? We're actually going to do that in a different session. So that is not going to be a problem. We'll definitely show you how to do that because you're going to do a lot of that. Okay, and here are some great questions now. Departmentalized. Okay, you have compartmentalized classes where you teach everything and you're basically generally working in a team. So just like you would share the workload for maybe Teacher A likes to do all of the math assignments because they are math certified. Teacher B likes to do all of the ELA assignments. You can kind of do that same work allocation in your compartmentalized classes. Now, if you do a departmentalized, so I was a 6th grade math teacher, and we had a 6th grade ELA teacher, and we had a 6th grade science social studies teacher. I taught the same material 3 times a day. I can combine all 3 of my individual student courses into one. So I only have one Canvas page, and I only have to keep that one updated. You can do the same thing for the little classes as well. You will only need to have one Canvas course to keep everything nice and organized in. And as we get that integration with IC, we'll be able to send you out some more instructions. That part is not critical right now, because once we start giving you your rosters, that's when you'll get your student versions of the Canvas courses. Right now, you're just kind of building your content. Okay, so don't worry, it's not going to be the final material that the students see. We'll show you how to incorporate all of that in. Let's see, okay. I think, so the next question was, will you be able to let us know when parents can call the school to enroll for children online school only? So just a quick review, in case you are not aware, we have 3 options for school this coming year. As of right now, we have standard school, in school 5 days a week, normal time. We have option 3, which we've already had. It's the More Virtual Academy. Used to be called IBI, Internet-Based Instruction, and that is full-time online. And it is from 3rd through 12th grade. We use Odysseyware for that. Teachers will not be required to keep up with those students. They will not be on your roster. You will not have to do full-time instruction online for students who choose option 3. That will be completely separate. And that is available for enrollment, I believe right now. To clarify, I would definitely go to the website and look for summer enrollment information. Option 2 is the one that everybody is kind of stressing out about, and option 2 is the reason that we are doing Canvas right now. So option 2 is, in order to choose option 2 right now, you have to be able to justify it. You have to be able to get approval, so it's an as-approved basis. And that states that your student has some type of underlying medical condition where they may have to be in school and out of school more than the standard 10 absent days. So we set you up immediately to do online or in person as your health warrants it. Now that's not I don't want to take my kid to school except for 2 days a week, so can I just do that one? It's not optional like that. You have to justify it. Option 2 will also be used in the case that we have a student who has a family member who gets tested positive and they have to quarantine the entire house for 2 weeks. We would move that student to option 2. Or if the student themselves tests positive, then we would move them to option 2. But as of right now, option 2 enrollment justified is very, very low. From the few administrators that I've talked to, it's none or 1 or 2 students per building, okay? So I wouldn't worry about that right now. Primarily, what we're preparing for is the fact that we have a contained outbreak in a school and we have to shut down a school for 1 or 2 weeks. So that's why we're wanting that Canvas material built up. Okay, so that's a great question. I think that's it. I think we got through most of those. It looks like everybody's got their names in. And if we have no questions, it's right at 3 o'clock. It looks like Rusty's answered all of your questions. I'll go back through again, and if I see anything in there that maybe we need to go over, I'll touch on those at the beginning of the next session. So thank you very much for session 1. Do not be terrified at this point. This is just the starting point. You are going to do great at this. The expectations from parents and students last year was, we know you guys are struggling as much as we are. We didn't have a lot of kickback from parents. They were very understanding. We were very understanding. It's not normal school, but we're going to get through it. And the ed tech department is here to help you with the transition. So don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Don't let yourself feel like this is an insurmountable task. It's not. It's going to be a little extra work, but as I go through the rest of the sessions, I'm going to show you that if this becomes the new normal, you are going to love it. It will make your lives easier. It will make your lesson planning easier. It will make your grading easier. So long term, even without these new normal situations, this is going to be a good thing even for K through 5 or K through 6. So I will see you back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Thanks, Rusty, for handling the chat. Appreciate it.
Hi, Wendy. Can
Yes.
I talk to you a little bit?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Like you said, we have 3 options for, like, you know, the for the full-time school, the second is half and half, online and in campus, and another one is online only. So I received a letter say, like, if we enroll in the second and